Hello everyone and welcome to the penultimate race of the season. It's round 15 of the AOR F1 2013 Season 7 Championship. It's the United States Grand Prix. The Circuit of the Americas is what the drivers are going to be racing around today. I'm Matthew Gallagher and it is getting very hot indeed for second place in the championship. And the person alongside me to enjoy all of this with me is Scott Woodwis.
Yes, indeed, Matthew. Circuit of the Americas, one of the fastest growing tracks in popularity. This circuit has got long back straight, but also a ton of fantastic technical sections. 20 turns over 28 laps of the 5.5 kilometre course, and that huge battle for second place going on between Limitless and Matt is going to be absolutely amazing. I can't wait for it because it should be amazing as we get to the final stages of the championship. Here in Interlagos is all that's left, so I'm getting excited for it, and hopefully the circuit in Austin, Texas should provide a great race as we head towards the end of this championship.
It's going to be really intriguing to see how it unfolds. So let's take a look at the Season 6 podium, where xMattyG took the victory from RickeeyC in second place and Noble coming home in third. Noble took the pole position with a 1:35.1. Let's see how they do this season in the qualifying report.
Here we are for the Season 7 qualifying comparison around the modern Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. On the left we are on board with McLaren of RickeeyC, and on the right the man who's already secured this championship for this season, Noble 2909 in the Williams. Both drivers managing a good line through the quite difficult first corner of this track, before storming down the hill through the flat out turn 2 and then coming towards a section which is quite similar to the Maggots and Beckett's complex at Silverstone. It's all about nailing the line through these corners, and both drivers seem to have done it pretty well, with Noble being slightly ahead of Ricky at this point of the lap. RickeeyC taking a very wide line going up the hill now through turn 8 and then shifting it left through turn 9, then going through another flat out left-hander of turn 10, before now going underneath the UBS sign and braking hard for turn 11, where you're going to try to get a pretty wide entrance to get the best possible exit onto what is the longest straight on the circuit, and one of the longest on the calendar in fact. Both drivers using all of their curves now going down the straight, DRS fully open as well, and now they're just focusing over to the right hand side to find the best possible braking point for this very slow turn 12. Noble still slightly ahead of RickeeyC as you can see, but then he gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit, which he corrects nicely. But now Noble misses the apex slightly, whereas Ricky takes it nicely and is gaining a little bit of time on Noble there, I think, as we come now towards turn 15. A very awkward corner, and again Noble slightly missed the apex, and I think they're pretty much equal going through the shadow there. Now going flat out through the corners, which is basically a mirrored version of the famous turn 8 at Istanbul Park in Turkey. And then through the very difficult blind apex of the penultimate corner, before coming through the final corner. RickeeyC now slightly ahead of Noble, and also gets a slightly better line to take second place on the grid with a 1:35.571. Noble takes 5th place, but is only 1/10 behind Ricky's time. Now for Scott Woodwis to take it through the full grid.
Thank you very much, Fisi, for that qualifying comparison. Now let's take a look at the grid for the Season 7 United States Grand Prix. It's pole position and initial advantage to TRL Limitless in the Toro Rosso. He starts on pole by just over 3.5 tenths from the rapid Irishman RickeeyC on the front row in the McLaren. Row 2 sees TRL Minty in the second Toro Rosso and Randy McScrandy making up on the second row. Row 3 sees Champion Noble in 5th, not exactly on the same pace, but surely looking to come through the field to try and gain advantage and get another victory. He'll start alongside the first of the Ferraris of TRL Martin. xMattyG losing out the ground to Limitless in the qualifying session, only managing 7th on row 4 ahead of IPRX Callum in the Force India. Fisi Fan starts 9th for Red Bull ahead of Jason 97 F1 for Force India, while Trace B92 and the Constans in the second Red Bull and the Sol Sauber round out the 12 car grid. Constans starts on the harder Prime hard compound tyres, whilst everyone else starts on the mediums. 3 non-starters today: SE Racing Team in the Caterham, Maisie CZ in the second Ferrari, and Tierra Rosberg also in the second Works Ferrari. There's the grid of 12 cars. Now let's head out to the starting line for the United States Grand Prix of Season 7.
It's race time. It's the United States Grand Prix. It's xMattyG and RapidScorpion commentating for you today. Another race with no rain. That's got to be about 6 races in a row now. We're on the grid and we are ready for the penultimate race of the season. Are you ready, Scott?
I am indeed, and Matty's got a huge mountain to climb, back in 7th on the grid with his championship rival Limitless on pole. This is a battle for second for the championship. Matty's going to have to work hard, but so's Noble back in 5th. This could be a great chance for the McLarens and the Toro Rossos to get a great result today. I'm getting ready for the lights, and that long run uphill towards the first corner could make the difference, as here come the lights one by one.
Here they come. We've got 4. Now the final light is on. And here we go. And away for the penultimate race of the season. We're aboard with Ricky, who had a brilliant qualifying. It looks like he's actually looking at the inside of Limitless down towards turn 1. Can he take the lead? It looks like he has, if he can spot his braking point, which he has. Randy looking at the inside as well. And now on the outside of Limitless, and he's got great traction. It's McLaren 1-2 at the moment. Limitless drops down to 3rd. Matty up to 5th now, pushing his way slightly through past the Ferrari there. Fisi down in 9th. Noble dropping down to 7th from 5th on the grid. So not a great start from him. Callum now looking up the inside. Will he go down to 8th, the champion? No, he won't. He just about manages to stay in front. And it looks like there hasn't been much contact, and all the drivers have got through the first few corners unscathed, which is brilliant to see. And Matty slightly cutting the corner there on Minty, and it looks like he won't go past him into this hairpin because it'll be seen as an unfair overtake. So he's going to let Minty, it looks like, here we go. Yeah, Minty going straight back past, and Matty slotting back into 5th. But a decent start for Matty from 7th on the grid, but Limitless dropping down also means that it's going to get probably quite tasty in the next few laps if Matty can dispatch of Minty in the next few corners.
Really can, and effectively it's opposite fortunes. Matty made up a couple of places while Limitless couldn't avoid the fast starting McLarens, and now Matty's on the back of Minty, of course, getting another chance to try and pass. But that's pretty crucial because it now means that Matty's got two less cars to try and get around as Fisi gets past Callum as he runs wide up at the complex around turns 13 and 14. As they come up towards exit 15 towards this very long triple right-hander reminiscent of turn 8 at Turkey. And they come to the end of the first lap. And what a dream start for the McLarens. Both Ricky and Randy getting a great start. And it was key that even though he was on the inside of the track, it doesn't really matter in F1 2013. You can get just as good a start, if not a better one, as Ricky proved, up the inside. And I think Randy actually surprised Limitless a little bit into turn 1 because he managed to dive up there and snatch 2nd place. So the Toro Rossos already on the back foot slightly, but the McLarens have a clear run as Noble looking to the outside of Martin for 6th position. But the new champion once again not able to make a move. He is on the inside now for turn 2 as he can get it done this time, and yes he does. And now Fisi's got a great up line so far. So the Williams car's not exactly flying for the field, but Matty taking full advantages. Martin takes a rather unorthodox line through turns 4 and 5. But as they come up towards turn 6, not exactly holding on at the moment ahead of Fisi, but certainly it seems the McLaren with a full advantage. Toro Ross has got some work to do, and the Williams at least trying to charge up. The top 6 is pretty much 2 by 2 as they come towards the back straight for the second time.
Yeah, the McLarens out in front. Neither of those guys, Ricky or Randy, have won a race at all in F1, so it's going to be interesting to see how those guys deal under pressure. Limitless, in fact, losing touch slightly with Randy, so the two McLarens could really work together here to pull out a gap. And this is the replay of Ricky off the start. He just got a brilliant launch compared to Limitless. Maybe the inside line's a little bit grippier on this game, I'm not too sure, but you can see Ricky managing to take the lead off Limitless, and then I think Ricky running slightly wide meant Limitless couldn't turn into the corner as early as he wanted to. Let's have a look. Oh, he's just gone, yeah, he just had to just slightly get out of the steering, and that meant Randy got through because there was a slight bit of touch actually on Ricky's rear right to Limitless's front left, so that's what allowed Randy to go out the inside and take 2nd place. What a dream start for those two boys. We'll see if they can manage to get through the next sort of 25 laps and come home with a brilliant result for McLaren, and they haven't really had one. And this is very close going through turn 1 with Matty. That could easily have ended in him going in the wall with a side pod glitch, but fortunately for him, he managed to get his elbows out and get up into 5th place, which is crucial. And there's Noble losing and down to 8th at that point, but then Callum gets forced slightly wide by Martin. There's a little bit of wheel touching between the Ferrari and the Williams, and that's where Callum lost the position to Noble, and Noble up into 7th at that point. And here we go, Noble now 6th coming towards the end of lap 2 and behind his teammate Matty, and it looks like, well, Matty's not really on the back of Minty right now, but he's got Limitless in his sights, which is what he needs at the moment. Randy setting the fastest lap of a 39.5. Those two boys are pushing out in front, but Limitless has closed the gap in fact, so maybe they made a mistake into turn 1, but Limitless is well and truly within the DRS zone of the two McLarens, and Ricky holding his own out in front at the moment. Limitless going purple in fact, so that is probably how he has caught up slightly to the back, and it is definitely less than 5/10 now, and Limitless will want to get back past Randy as quickly as possible, as he did show some brilliant pace in qualifying, taking pole by 3.5 and really trying to just throw down the gauntlet for wanting to get 2nd place in the championship. It looked all but certain for him at India. I think he had about 36-point lead then, but it's diminished now, and he's really going to have to start. Well, he's going to have to beat Matty for first, but then Randy actually looking to the inside now of Ricky down towards this downhill left-hander, and it looks like he's going to make the move stick. These two McLaren boys, there's no team orders, and well, if they battle too much, Scott, then that could cost them a lot of time and potentially the victory.
He could, but possibly there's some other tactics going, possibly at Toro Rosso, because Limitless is focused so much on trying to chase after the two McLarens. And if these two continue to fight, it's only going to give Limitless an opportunity to get through into the lead and reclaim that top spot that he lost off the start. Now, this is the key situation here. Minty is kind of acting like a rear gunner for Matty at the moment, but kind of like how Noble did when he was trying to help Matty out in the past couple of races. So Minty here is trying to allow Limitless to run his own race to keep with the two McLarens and to try and get around them, whilst Minty is just going to sit there and try and hold up Matty for as long as he can. But of course, with DRS active, it's only a matter of time before Matty does get a move done, come across the line, and he was about 3.5 tenths of a second back as Minty gets a bit of a lock up, and he actually runs deep into turn one. Perfect opportunity for Matty up the inside. Thank you very much, Minty, and that is a key pass because Matty now has a little bit of space to get up to speed and chase after the three cars in front of him, and effectively Limitless knows he has to get around. He's taking the chance right now as he's going to try and get around the outside of Ricky as they head into turns 6 and 7. Now through turn 8, through the flick up of 9, and now they head back down towards the hairpin, and Matty went a little bit wide. You can see he's trying to push. That's put Minty back up on his inside through the kink of 10, and you'll have track position down towards 11, but Matty's trying to react going into Rich Mix 3. And Minty's still there. What kind of drive can he get off the corner? Is he going to use any curves? Matty keeps his nose in front, but Minty thinks, hold on a second, I'll have DRS. In fact, indeed he does. Now back to the front. It's going to be another change between the McLarens again. Ricky gets past Randy on the straight. There's a bit of a connection glitches. We lose Callum in the Force India, and Ricky reclaims the lead back down at the hairpin at turn 11, turn 12 I should say. So brilliant fighting going on, and Matty and Minty are still going at it into turns 13 and 14. But the Williams certainly has enough traction. And look at the tyres already, because we're on these option tyres, the medium compound, but already as early as lap 4, these guys may be requiring a pit stop. So obviously the harder compound is definitely going to be the stronger race tyre, it seems, because even though they've done a qualifying lap on these tyres, and it is a medium compound, these tyres are not exactly going to be lasting too much longer because of the nature of these high-speed corners and these long, arduous sections, as Matty does dive in, so he has had enough of those tyres already after just 4 laps. So I would probably bet that he's mainly going to be on, I would have thought, I'm guessing Matty, a 3-stop strategy, mainly as everyone else, depending on how much they've used their tyres. But it's either going to be a 2-stop if anyone's feeling brave, while I think the majority of the field are probably going to settle for a 3-stop on this one, Matty.
It's going to be interesting because it's a very tight sort of space between a 2 and a 3-stop. If you really want to try and push your tyres, then a 2-stop is possible, but a 3-stop obviously is a lot safer, and Matty's gone for the gamble. No one else has pitted on lap 4, it's worth pointing out, so Matty is the only one that's committed to a 3-stop just yet. It's really, well, I'd say practically impossible to get, to sort of convert onto a 2-stop after pitting on lap 4, so it'll be interesting to see how these drivers cope on the option tyres at the moment, as Limitless is right behind Randy at the moment, and it's going to be, yeah, because I mean, I would have expected these tyres to last longer than only 4 or 5 laps, but it seems like the drivers are struggling with understeer around these corners, especially sector 1 with that very tight S's, which requires a lot of grip and downforce, as Limitless looks to the outside down towards this downhill left-hander. Can he make this one stick round the outside? Randy is going to shut the door and say, no son, you are not coming through, and that is crucial because it looks like Ricky's starting to maybe put out a slight bit of a gap to his teammate, especially if Randy and Limitless start battling again. So, well, Ricky is the number 1 in McLaren at the moment, and I'm sure, well, I'm guessing the McLaren team boss is just going to be saying to them, boys, we just need this victory. I mean, we haven't had one the entire season. It's been dominated mainly by Williams, and well, Ricky looks like he is starting to push and maybe put it up into Rich Mix 3, which is going to be risky as Randy goes into the pits. So he has dived into the pits and potentially is going to go onto a 3-stop, but well, going 1 lap later than Matty means he may well be able to push a 2-stop. It'll be interesting to see. But what will also be interesting to see once all these drivers are pitted, where Matty and Randy now will feed out into, because the drivers will be struggling on the options, and maybe that will put the Williams driver and the McLaren driver in the mix and out in front possibly. So it'll be interesting. I think lap 6 is going to be the main lap for the drivers. Is that Matty? It is going to the outside round turn 1. And he's made the move stick, so he's got ahead of Randy. So he was behind Limitless and Randy before pitting, and now he's got ahead. So that is a huge undercut for Matty, and it looks like he's going to get in front of Limitless by the time all these guys stop.
It's crucial, and looks as though it's a kind of circuit where running longer does not gain you an advantage. It seems to be getting the undercut on a fresh set of tyres is going to help you out. As we now watch Noble trying to recover, started 7th, up to 4th, up 3 places from off the grid, and now with DRS an opportunity and Kurz the chance to get a pass as he moves down to the inside, and Minty is going to be almost defenceless unless he's better under brakes. And they're going to run side by side. There's not too much of a straight line difference even with DRS, but Noble does just move across and takes more of a racing line, as now Fisi fans now got Constance up his inside, and Constance has had a great race so far. Started at the back of the field without setting a time, and he's the only one, remember, that started on the prime tyres, this harder compound tyre. As Randy now is challenging Matty, of course, these two are also on those tyres, but they're much fresher. Matty's been forced to run wide, and Randy gets better traction. Of course, his tyres are not up to temperature just yet. Matty's had a lap to do so. They do just slightly touch wheels through 13 and 14. Now it's the very tricky breakers under 15. And Randy has got that inside run. Can he get the better traction? Yes, he can. So that's forced Matty out wide. If we now got pit cars into the pit, so Ricky and Limitless and Noble all in. So McLaren, Toro Rosso and Williams are reacting, and Ferrari and Red Bull. We've got Martin and Fisi in. So I think everyone who was in that mix, who were running first to that 5th or 6th, are now in for tyres. So that means now stop there for Limitless as he goes out. So I think possibly Minty's the only one that stayed out, I believe. So Noble heads out also on a fresh set of tyres, but he's gone to the tyres as well. And they're exiting the pits right now. And is that possibly... That is Ricky. Oh, the two McLarens have touched! Randy going around the outside, Ricky stayed to the inside across the curve, and because of that, Matty's got through. So Matty now splits the McLarens after the first round of stops, but that was crucial, and that must be a nightmare for the McLaren boss. The two McLarens touch. They must be holding their head in their hands after that one. Ricky trying to reconcile for that by getting a move up the inside of turns 7 and 8. But Matty, what on earth was going on there? And Limitless has come out the loser out of all of this, still behind the two McLarens and behind Matty as well.
I think Ricky was concentrating mainly on his teammate going into turn 1, not realising... Oh, sorry, no, he was concentrating on Matty into turn 1, then saw his teammate and must have just locked his brakes slightly and gone into the side of Randy. Fortunately, neither of those McLarens were facing the other way, as Ricky suffers a slight lag spike, which is going to be costly for him trying to get past Matty. But what is going to be interesting now for Matty, and crucial in his fight for second place in the championship, is if he can manage his tyres and make his strategy work, because it looks like he is one of the only people on the 3-stop strategy at the moment, because all of the other drivers push to lap 6 as Martin goes past Fisi for 9th place. So Martin not having a great race at the moment, but he's starting to come through the field now. But it's going to be interesting. I think Ricky and the likes of Limitless are going to be all over the back of Matty come towards the end of this stint. But if Matty's going for a 3-stop, he's going to have to put in some huge pace, because it's not exactly a massively quick pit lane either. So he's going to have to gamble on drivers battling and having fresh air himself when he goes out onto fresh sets of primes. I'm guessing two more fresh set of primes for Matty is going to be what he is going to what the doctor ordered, I suppose. But for the other drivers, it's going to be, well, I don't know. It's going to be, I'm not sure. But Randy, it looks like he's going to be going on to a 2-stop. But we will see as he puts in a 39.2. So he's not slouching around. It's so interesting. I don't know what drivers are going to be going on, because I think there's going to be 2 stops and then there may be 3. So it'll all unfold, I suppose, towards sort of, well, I'm guessing as they've pitted on lap 7, they're going to be going in at lap 16, 17 if they're committing to a 2-stop, and about probably lap 14, 15 if they're going for a 3, as Fisi sets a purple sector and the fastest of everybody. As we now see a replay of Noble going past Minty. This was before their pit stops, I believe, and this is what made the move stick. And then he was... Oh, then Minty came back at him at the double left and got back past him. But now he's going to go around the outside on this very... well, it looks a lot like the Turn 8 of Istanbul. I missed that track so much. Turkey, what a brilliant track that is. And a replay of Fisi coming into the pits for a fresh set of tyres. So action galore on lap 6, Scott, where everybody just fed into the pits.
And this is the replay, of course, Ricky coming out, and of course that's almost unsighted because Randy comes across. Now, in some ways, purely that might be... I'm not sure what else Ricky could have done, because this is Randy's view. He turns across. Maybe he couldn't see it either. There's the arrows, but I think it's just a misjudgment and a miscommunication between the two McLarens. But I think really, that wasn't really anyone's fault, because there was nothing really Ricky could have done on the inside coming out of the pits. In fact, he was almost saying in his helmet, well, where did you want me to go? It hasn't got vertical takeoff. So it's not going to happen at all. But what was crucial is Minty now gets past Fisi after he lost that exiting in the stops, and that was a key one, as Ricky gets the black and white flag for corner cutting, and he's now battling with Matty. He's going to try and go around the outside of turns 16, 17 and 18, but the Williams has track position, as Minty now is under attack once again from Fisi as they exit out of turn 15, and once again underneath the Rolex bridge and back towards the final corner further up in front. Matty's certainly putting up a valiant defensive effort at the moment, proving he has enough pace. He's got to now try and concentrate on chasing after in second place. That is now, I'm pretty sure that's going to be, if I can work it out, possible that's even Noble. It's Randy, sorry, in second place. So Confidence has been the one that stayed out, we believe. So obviously on that harder compound tyre, it's working for him initially. But we said staying out longer, especially on the same set of tyres, doesn't work. You need the undercut to have the fresher set of tyres in order to make it work, which is why stopping earlier has benefited Matty so much. And that's the reason why he's now splitting the two McLarens and also, crucially, ahead of Limitless on track. But how long's that going to last? Because Limitless is looming around the rear end of Ricky. They come through the kink of turn 9. And Limitless is across the curb, so effectively Limitless is looking pretty racy here on this set of tyres as they head towards the hairpin back towards the back straight where he'll get DRS. Minty's overshot himself through the exit of turn 9. That's put Fisi onto his inside, and he gets his nose in front before they get down to the braking zone and into 8th place, but that may not have worked to his favour, because remember, if Minty stays there, he'll get DRS. He may pull alongside and also use Kurz, and that can put him in a great position because he will have DRS also. And let's see if it was opened. Yes, he has. So Minty with a cheeky little pass on the exit of turn 11 as Ricky runs wide. That's going to give Limitless the inside run now for turn 13. Gets the move done. Yes, there's a bit of contact. Limitless goes a little too deep in the process, and now they're going to run side by side again down towards turn 15. Limitless trying to get back on the throttle once more, but Ricky cannot get it done. Limitless defends P4, great move, and that's crucial because now Limitless can start chasing after Matty, provided he doesn't get around Randy in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, I mean, well, Matty on sort of two lap older prime tyres than everybody bar Randy, who's got 1 lap fresher tyres than Matty, but Limitless is going to probably push on very hard indeed. Fresher tyres towards the end of the stint is crucial, so Matty's going to be struggling like no other, but we will see how that pans out as we now cut to Fisi Fan in 9th place out of 11, so not a great race for Fisi at the moment. He's battling with Minty, who has some good pace as well, so neither of those guys really up with the front pack at the moment, and Randy has now caught Contadins, who is the only driver to start on the prime tyres, and this is where he is going to cause these drivers some problems as Randy is now in the slipstream. He hasn't got DRS, but he may well try a lunge down into this left-hander because it is crucial for him to get past as soon as possible. He does, and he's up the inside now, and he's just about managed to make it stick, squeezing Contadins almost off the track there, so possibly Contadins might have something to say about that, but there was a crucial move for Randy to get past Contadins as quickly as possible. Now Matty is stuck behind him on a place where you really can't overtake unless he can get good traction, which he doesn't, because his tyres are starting to go off as well as he pitted on lap 4, so they're not much fresher than Contadins, who started on them, and he is now right behind him coming towards the last few corners of the lap, and he's turned in a little bit too early there. Contadins now peeling to the left and going into the pits, so he is maybe going to go on to another fresh set of prime tyres, so he is on a 2-stop as he's gone 10 laps into the race and done pretty well, you have to say, by leading the race for those few laps. And we now cut to Fisi, who will now go up to 8th place after Contadins pitting. And well, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Contadins setting some fast lap times on those fresh tyres compared to all these guys that are starting to get towards the end of their stint. But Fisi runs slightly wide into turn 1, Minty taking it beautifully and pulling away, as you can see. So Fisi not having a great race. As I've said, a 39 flat is his fastest lap of the race so far, and it's going to be interesting. Look, I mean, you can see on the mini-map how close the top sort of 5 are, and it really is anyone's race. We haven't really heard much from Noble at the moment, and it's all been about Ricky, Matty, Limitless and Randy. But Noble just sitting there calmly. I think he's in 5th place at the moment, and I'm sure he'll be there to pounce later on in the race, because I mean, he is the champion, the 5-time F1 champion. You can't rule him out at any point as Limitless gets a brilliant run on Matty. This is crucial for the championship, second place in the championship. Matty breaks later than Limitless down towards this left-hander. He's going to hang it round the outside. Then Matty's now got the inside line for this next right-hander. They're going to go side by side. This is absolutely brilliant racing between the Toro Rosso and the Williams. They're almost touching. I think they did touch going towards this left-hander. Limitless with the fresher tyres. Matty understeering and losing the position. Limitless up into second. Now Ricky is all over the Williams driver as well and wanting to get past, because he wants his first ever race F1 win in this league, because I mean, Ricky has gone close last season at India and also disconnecting this season as well, and Ricky has the pace to potentially challenge his teammate Randy, who is starting to get away, you have to say. And this is crucial to see if Ricky can maybe get up the inside of Matty down into turn 1, but Matty has DRS as well on Limitless, so you can see Matty just understeering slightly into turn 1 and starting to struggle on those tyres, and Ricky really needs to get past Matty as quickly as possible.
He really does, and possibly through turn 1 that may have been a case that he was so close. He may have just been the turbulent air and the hot exhaust gases in the air that's coming off the back of that Toro Rosso in front, even at low speeds, will have certainly affected the aero. And of course, when you're going so slow, because the aero is not exactly rushing over the car very quickly, which means you're not getting the same aero grip that you would have enjoyed through the fast corners. Now, Ricky certainly enjoyed that on the exit of turn 9 because he is right onto the back of the rear wing of the Williams. And this is now a chance where he will get DRS onto the back straight. Here they go. He's got a full bar of curves, which I'm sure he's going to utilise. He's up into Rich Mix 3. Here comes the DRS. Pop goes the rear wing. And Matty's now going to hold on for the moment. He's also on optimal fuel at the moment. And is Ricky going to try a dive exactly like Randy did? No. He's going to stay back and wait for Matty and get a better opportunity to see if he can get a cutback anywhere by moving inside him at one of the corners in this complex. Now, Minty is now coming under attack in 7th place from Fisi fans. So Toro Rosso and Red Bull going at it back just behind the top 6. Ricky, we come back to him, and he's now still chasing after Matty. Ricky is trying to put in a valiant effort so far. The Irishman, he had a great showed flashes of brilliance last season for Caterham, but obviously now in the McLaren hasn't done all the things. As Matty's now going to dive in for his second stop. Now remember, of course, he stopped 2 laps earlier than everyone else. He stopped back on lap 4 for his first set of those prime tyres. So he's going to come in and certainly go on to his second set of the race. As now Ricky holds on to 3rd, and the Williams boys go to work. Let's take a look at the pit stop quickly. Decent enough stop, 3.1 seconds. Not as quick as some others, but he's going to come out now, I think, just ahead of Constance. If not, we'll have to wait and see where exactly the Sauber is in relation. Matty releases the limiter. In fact, Constance has already gone through, and Matty exits in 9th. In fact, Constance on his fresh tyres are 1:38.5. So even though he's back in 8th, he certainly has a point to prove that he has got some pace. Just a shame that he's not anywhere near the front to make good use of it at this point. But it seems as though that's going back forwards to lap 13. This is now Fisi fan finally on the back of Minty with DRS. Is he going to make a dive? No, he's just not close enough. He doesn't feel brave enough to send it up the inside into turn 12 and put it side by side. We're going to skip to the end now on lap 14. Is he going to have another go into turn 1? No, he's just not close enough. Doesn't have the confidence in that Red Bull under brakes. And he's just not close enough with DRS either. So whether or not he's lacking straight line speed or just he's waiting for Minty to slip up himself and to apply a bit of pressure through the complex, maybe a place where it's going to come. But these two certainly have been nose to tail for most of the race. And Fisi is certainly putting the pressure on. But up front, I'm pretty sure Randy has got no pressure at all. He's got a clear gap up front. But of course, as we look here, Matty's battling with Continents. And he has to get around him, even though he's on the far to soft tyre. And indeed he does. So he's going to get around him if he can help it. You'll slight bit of contact, but yes, he's through. So Matty, that was crucial. If he'd been stuck behind him for a couple of laps and begun to fight, he would have lost even more time to Limitless by the time those guys in front make their second pit stops.
Yeah, so we've got confirmation that Matty has in fact gone on to a 3-stop. He's not going to be able to stop one more time. So he's going to try and push, or he's going to have to put in some excellent lap times to make up to the drivers ahead who still haven't pitted, which means that if they pit about now, then they're probably still going on to a 3-stop. But if we're waiting to sort of lap 17, but we cut to lap 15 now, and none of the drivers have pitted yet, so it looks like Matty has done an extra pit stop. So where he is on the track now is where is basically everybody's done the same amount of pit stops. So it looks like Limitless has advantage of around 10-15 seconds on his championship rival. So Limitless again looking right behind Randy now, actually, in fact. So he's caught up to Randy, who is on 1 lap older tyres than Limitless. So Limitless looking great to potentially take a victory here if he can get past the McLaren and start to pull out a gap. He's got +1 lap of fuel as well, so he is looking brilliant in that Toro Rosso, and we know he's got the pace after qualifying, so he's right behind the McLaren coming through this first sector, as we now cut to Matty, who is in 8th place and locking up as well. This is not good for the Williams driver. He's losing time hand over fist on those marbles and going off onto the curb. So Matty's just thinking, oh God, I've actually gone onto the wrong strategy here, and then panicking and trying to put in too fast a lap time and braking a little bit too late for his car's liking, as we're now with Ricky watching the battle up in front with his teammate and Limitless, and he is just watching thinking, well, maybe if these two collide I can maybe take this victory home. But Noble is still there right behind. He is really not making any moves. We cut to him now, and he is not making any moves or inroads into these guys at the moment, but he's just sitting there waiting patiently. Maybe he's saving some fuel as well, as Limitless goes to the outside to Randy. This is for the lead, and Rickey's right behind as well, and Randy's managed to keep the first position. Limitless looking up the inside, Randy going very defensive. Rickey now looking around the outside of Limitless, and there's contact, and Rickey's managed to somehow get away with that. I am so surprised. I thought he'd be facing the wrong way with that kind of contact onto Limitless's side pod, but he's managed to get away with it. Now Noble is starting to sniff an opportunity. He's in lean, I knew it, and he's on +1 lap of fuel as well, so he is going to be pushing at some point in the latter stages of the race, as Rickey takes a great line through the penultimate corner, and he's now got the inside line of Limitless. Randy peels off into the pits, and Rickey now takes the lead away from Limitless, and now Noble is, well, they're side by side as Rickey and Limitless, and Noble's just looking on in the slipstream of both of them, getting a double toe, and now Rickey comes back into the slipstream, and Limitless doesn't have the top speed to get to make the move done into turn 1. Limitless takes the lead, and Noble is right behind, as you can see, with the arrow, and he is ready to pounce, as Randy is now about to exit the pits, and he's going to come out in 8th position at the moment, as he is now, well, he's converted onto a 2-stop. You would have thought after his option stint he would have gone onto a 3, but it looks like with 11 laps to go he'll be able to push that prime stint to the end. And now Noble, the champion, look at his tyres, they are red raw, and it looks like Rickey's struggling as well in front of him. And I wouldn't be surprised, Scott, if the drivers come into the pits this lap or the next one.
Not at all. So Noble was actually fuel saving. That's the reason why he wasn't so much on the pace and challenging for the lead. He was just saving a bit of fuel for the latter stages of the race, so that he can start to charge through and be in a much better position and utilise that extra fuel, the extra pace he has at his disposal on the fresher tyres with that lighter fuel load. So effectively, he's going to try and push on, see what he can do at the moment. But as Rickey gets a huge lock up into turn 12, couldn't get it stopped. That's going to put Noble on his outside. An easy pass for Noble around on the exit of turn number 12. And he's now got free reign to chase after Limitless now for the race lead. Back with Randy, of course, on his new set of prime tyres. And he's now going to have to try and hold on Traceby. Very quiet race from Traceby this weekend. Hasn't really been on the ultimate pace of everyone else. So he's stuck back down in 9th place. So not exactly showing the same pace as his teammate Fisi. His Limitless is going to run wide. And he's going to probably dive into the pits this time around. Yes, he does. And I wonder in some cases, it possibly wasn't the case, but Limitless and, of course, Rickey was side by side, which allowed Randy to pit. And I wonder maybe if Limitless was possibly planning to maybe come into the pits a lap on the same lap as Randy was. I don't think it probably was. It just probably might be my imagination. But it certainly hindered for Limitless, and there was no way, because as Rickey was completely on his inside, that it didn't allow him to go through. Now, that's interesting, because what's happened there, there's cars coming in the pit lane, and that's actually forced Limitless to give position, I think, to Noble. So because of the fact we had Martin coming down the pit lane, it's given effectively the race lead to Noble. That's an incredible turn of events, as Fisi's going to try and go around the outside of his sister teammate of Limitless, but can't get it done. And of course, Limitless is now on stone cold prime tyres, whereas Fisi's have had his are pretty fresh, because his have had a lap to go ahead and warm up as they head through the complex once again. And that's soaring away at the wheel through turns 7 and 8. And so Limitless now's got quite a bit of traffic to get around, and he's also allowed Noble to gain track position through the pit stops. So that's clever work from Williams. And we'll look at it again here. This is Randy coming in. It's Rickey coming in, also Martin. Now, they make their stops and they get away pretty evenly, but watch on the left-hand side here, because they go past, and Toro Rosso have to hold Limitless, and that allows Noble to get through. So you watch here, there's the view, and in front, watch. The pit stop's done for Toro Rosso. He goes to leave, Noble goes out, but Limitless has to stop and wait for both the McLaren and the Ferrari. So that's a dramatic turn of events in the race with 10 laps to go. And I'm sure that Limitless must be absolutely furious at that, thinking that he's just kicked himself, thinking, I've just lost potentially the race victory. That was very lucky also, Noble just getting out in front of Martin. So quite a lot of action in the pit stops, and Fisi fan now finds himself trying to chase his sister teammate in 8th place. Now Randy now puts himself into 3rd after his early stop and getting the undercut. Matty is now, of course, 2nd, so he's shaking himself out in the stops as the man in front. And incredibly, Minty's still yet to stop, and Matty has a nice clear gap of about 6 seconds. So again, the undercut does work here at Circuit of the Americas. Staying out longer does not give you that much of a benefit, as Matty tries to get a move up the inside, but Minty's going to pull off into the pits anyway. Yes, he does. So now Matty now has clear track in front of him and a clear lead. So this is exactly what he wants, and the tables have turned. So effectively, what wasn't working for Matty last time out, obviously as he was being overtaken a few laps ago, he's made his pit stop, and now thanks to the kerfuffle in the pit lane, as RickeeyC's gone. RickeeyC is out of the race, and that's such a shame. Technical problems for him. He's out of the race. They're down to one McLaren, and Randy is just proving a point to try and see as he's the sole left car left in the field. A 1:37.3 fastest lap of the race. All of it going on with just less than 10 laps to go.
So just to point out, Scott, Matty still has to make another pit stop. He carried on. It was Noble that came into the pits. So effectively, Randy is in the lead by about 6 seconds at the moment and setting the fastest lap as well. So Matty, well, it says here on Ricky's screen that Matty disconnected, but Matty is still well and truly in this race. It is Ricky that unfortunately disconnected. But Limitless getting an 8-second pit stop, which is absolutely horrific for his chances of for getting a great result. Because, I mean, he was looking at potentially second or first place, but Randy now, after all of that kerfuffle in the pit stops, has a huge lead out in front with Matty still yet to pit. So Randy looking at potentially with 9 laps to go his first ever victory as Limitless goes past Martin into that left-hander, and he is now going to have to push very hard indeed after losing about 5 seconds in the pit stops due to being held, and just, well, his team just wanted to let everybody through despite wherever they were in the pit lane. They were just like, no, you carry on, we'll keep Limitless here. So I'm sure he was well, raging in the cockpit as Matty now dives into the pits for a fresh set of primes, and this is his 3 stops, so his last stop of the race. He could have maybe eked it out and put options on, but option tyres, as we saw at the start of the race, just did not work for Matty. So now he's going to change onto another fresh set of primes, a 3.2 second pit stop, and is going to feed out. Where is he? He's in 3rd place at the moment. 4th now, so where's he going to feed out? 5th place, so that is Martin and Limitless just down the road there. So that has worked out brilliantly. By the end of the race, Matty on fresher tyres, just getting out in front of Fisi, but Matty on a much fresher tyres than the cars ahead, and he is not that far behind. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can put in some brilliant laps and get right behind his 2nd place in the championship rival Limitless. But he's got his rear gunner TRL Martin behind him, so Matty's going to have to dispatch of him first if he can catch them, as Fisi now looking like he's got a little bit more of a positive race now, up in 6th at the moment with +1 lap of fuel as well. He's ahead of Minty, which is the battle that we've been seeing go on for the last 20 laps, as we now see Matty going round the hairpin and onto one of the longest straights on the calendar. Puts it up into Rich Mix 3 as well, so he's going to start pushing. He's on optimal though, so he's going to have to be a bit wary of his fuel. But he is going to have to push very hard indeed. But he's got the grip, he's got the downforce as well. So we shall see if he can make that work. As Minty now trying to get back past Fisi with the use of DRS. But Fisi had DRS as well on Matty, so he's managed to maintain 6th position. But by looking at the split time there, he's not going to have DRS the next time we come round, and that may give Minty the opportunity to get back up into 6th place. So these two battling very hard indeed. But Randy out in front, as you can see on the minimap going around the final corner now. He has got a humongous lead, and it is Limitless's Noble and, well, Ricky no longer because he is disconnected. Those two guys' job to try and catch Randy and stop him from getting his first ever F1 victory.
Certainly will be, and that'll be very much deserving to be a very popular victory. As Fisi fan didn't get the traction he wanted off the final corner, which now gives Minty the run alongside him with the aid of DRS down towards the turn 1. Very steep entry into turn 1, of course, and it tightens up into the apex. So effectively, you're going at such a slow speed that no wonder if any cars are going off on understeer, of course, because as we said, the aero effect is not as strong at slow speeds unless you've got a car that's set up or developed to work in such conditions. As they come to the very high-speed corner, this is where the aero really starts to work hard through the sweeps of turns 7 and 8, through the kink of 9, and then just another little kink of 10 towards the hairpin of 11. And let's see what Fisi fan can do. Is he going to be close enough to get DRS? I'm not sure if he will be. We'll have to wait and see before we get to the activation point. As he comes across it to the line now. He does get DRS. He used up all these curves in the process, though. But as it's such a long straight, this is one of those long key straights where DRS is so effective and you can make up so much time. But again, Fisi, no confidence on the brakes to try and get alongside Minty into the hairpin at turn 12. So he's going to sit back and try and just close up in this section. Doesn't appear really to have enough. Again, he's losing traction as well. So not all is well with that Red Bull. Not necessarily from a problem point of view, but in terms of just the setup, it doesn't seem to be clicking, and Fisi just lacking pace at the moment. Now we're going to watch here. This is now that's obviously connection problems from Minty. There's some technical issues there. A bit of a lag spike as Minty was in front, then he was behind, and then Minty suddenly decided he was going to repass him again. So a little bit odd. A small lockup there as well. As now back to Fisi in 7th place, and he seems to have lost touch now with Minty pretty quickly, and he might fall into the clutch to Commentated's back in front of them. Matty on those fresher tyres, as we're now on lap 25, so with a few laps to go, as we skipped forward a few laps, and Matty now with a great chance possibly to close in, because just in front there's Limitless. He's only got one car in front of them, and amazing, remember the Toro Rosso and the Ferrari have the same Ferrari engine, of course, with the Williams, with the Renault power, but with the DRS open, and again, even so, I think Martin's in fact must be running less wing on his car, because he's actually managed to stay with Limitless, and both of them have dropped Matty down the straight. So under brakes for turn 12, just wasn't close enough to head into the complex, running a little bit wide. That's the turbulent air coming off the back of that Ferrari, but a huge fight going on for third place now between Limitless, Martin and Matty, and the quicker that Matty can get around the Ferrari, the better chance he's got to close in and potentially grab himself a podium place, and that'd be crucial for points to gain a bit of a psychological advantage, at least going into the final round in Brazil. So once the pit straight they come, then second, third, fourth and fifth, that's Noble, Limitless, Martin and Matty, and these guys are going to be fighting all the way to the flag, Matty. This could be a fantastic fight as Martin gets defensive, but it won't work. Matty's got the run with DRS, and coming up down into turn 1 under brakes, gets the job done, and now it's eyes on the prize. That is Limitless in front, needs to get around him, 3 laps to go, could get exciting, Matty.
Yeah, Matty's now right where he wants to be, behind Limitless, but on much fresher tyres. He's going to push on like no other to get past, because if he gets past Limitless, guess who's down the road next is his teammate, and I'm sure Noble will be more than happy to help his teammate try and secure second place in the championship. So Matty is pushing very hard indeed. He's set a purple first sector as well. He's got the fresh tyres. Surely he's going to be able to get behind Limitless and have a crack, and you can see just under braking he's so much more confident with the extra grip, and he will have DRS on Limitless. He's dropped Martin already. He's going to put it down into lean, because I think he's on -1 lap of fuel after having to push, after being on the wrong strategy and having to make one extra pit stop pretty much. But he's managed to claw his way back up the field, as we're now on board with Limitless, who's on optimal, so he's starting to push his fuel as well, and he's got DRS on Noble, so that is crucial. So Matty's teammate is in fact helping Limitless slightly with the fact that he's getting the extra speed down the straights of the double DRS that we've got here, down the pit straight and then down the back straight as well. So Matty's going to have to try and catch along the sort of all these cons here, the S's especially, with the extra grip. He should be able to close right in on Limitless before the DRS of the massive straight. We've got Randy out in front with, well, we're on lap 27, so he's got 4-second lead, so he is well and truly on his way to his first victory. But this is the battle we need to be concentrating on. Noble, Limitless and Matty 4/10 behind Limitless now, and well, Limitless is back up to +1 lap of fuel. There we go, put it up into rich, definitely, as Noble locks up into the hairpin, and it's going to be very close indeed. Limitless is going to have DRS on Noble, so maybe Limitless might go up into second here if Matty can't get through. He's on -1 lap of fuel as well, so he can't really push down this straight, and it looks like Limitless is getting a run on Noble. He is indeed, looking to the inside now, down towards this left-hander. Noble slightly more confident on the brakes, and that means he's going to have the inside line for the next right-hander. They're still side by side, and this is going to maybe give Matty an opportunity. Limitless goes slightly wide, and here comes Matty. You can see the arrow, he's getting squeezed by Limitless. They're so close going to this left-hander. They're still side by side. Limitless getting close with Noble as well, and there's been contact, and Limitless is sideways. Matty's been collected as well, and that is not what we want to see, and that's Martin going straight through into a podium position. Limitless going wide, and Matty in front of Limitless now. This is crucial, and now Minty's looking to the outside of Matty. There's action galore, and it's the final lap as Randy has started lap 28, and Minty trying to get through past Matty, but he cannot get through, and Minty now pulls to the left. And is he going to let Limitless through? He is indeed, as his Toro Rosso teammate. That means Limitless is back up into 5th. And I think there's 6 points separating these two before this race, and it's going to be 4 if Matty finishes 4th and Limitless 5th. But Matty with the fresher tyres may well still be able to catch Martin, as we're now on board with the race leader, Randy McScrandy, who it looks like he is well on his way, 4.4 seconds ahead of Noble. He's going to take his first victory, which is going to mean a lot to him. I'm sure he has fought so hard to get this, and it's all worked out well for him. The gods have shone down, and he is out in front with a very comfortable margin. I'm sure if that margin was half a second, he would be shaking in his boots slightly. But Noble in second, in Rich as well, so he's trying to maybe hope that Randy's going to make a mistake in these last few sectors, but I don't think he's going to. He's driven flawlessly for most of this race, and he is going to come home for his first ever AOR victory in that McLaren, and the boys are going to be very happy indeed. I'm sure his teammate Ricky will be very happy indeed. Who knows where he could have been had he not disconnected. But, well, who knows? I mean, Ricky had great pace and probably on the same sort of level as Randy. He'd be up with Noble, I am sure. But what could have been is what he will be saying in the paddock. But Matty is still, well, he's closing in on Martin, but he's going to run out of corners by the looks of things. Limitless behind him, so it means it's going to be very, very close into the final race at Interlagos, which is going to be an excellent race, I am sure. Randy comes over the line now to take the victory. A brilliant drive from him. Noble coming home in second. A quiet but, well, good drive from him in second. Martin comes home in third, pretty much gifted after the contact between Limitless and Matty. Matty fourth, Limitless fifth, and, well, Scott, it was an action-packed last few laps.
I'm sure there's probably going to be one or two words between Limitless and Matty. We're going to watch this again here, so here we go. So Limitless had the run on Noble. Noble was better under brakes, getting it up the inside, and held his line, which he's entitled to do. He had track position. So Noble had the inside line. Limitless was trying to go through, and I think Noble just kind of forced Limitless wide onto the curb. That gave Matty the opportunity. He puts his hand up saying, "What are you doing, Limitless? Give me some room." Round the outside, Noble hesitates on the exit because Matty got a much better run. The two interlock, and well, that could be seen as a racing incident because Master just says, "Oh, if you're gonna be like that, boys, I'll just be around the outside of you and just see you later." So seeing here now, that's intriguing because I think I see Limitless was trying to move back inside behind Noble, didn't judge that Noble didn't get good enough traction. There's the contact, and it looks a little bit like from that view that Matty caused it, but I think it's more of a racing incident because as we see Randy taking a much deserved victory. That was, I think that was more racing. It's that the two of them came together trying to fight for the same bit of track. I don't think Limitless realised Noble was Matty was that far alongside. But Randy, God, those McLaren boys, they're going to love that one. Haven't had a win for ages, and soon they get their victory. And great, it's a very popular victory as well. Randy's been looking for that for so long, and to finally get it here at Circuit of the Americas after a breathtaking race. Congratulations to McLaren and to Randy, thoroughly well deserved.
Randy Mascarandi taking the victory after 28 laps from Noble 299 in second place. Martin taking third place. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that, despite the fact he was in fifth with a few laps to go. Matty coming home in fourth ahead of Limitless after that incident, with TRL Minty in sixth position just behind his teammate, allowing him through on lap 27, I think it was. Fisi Fan 91 coming home in a solid 7th place, losing out to Minty by 8 seconds in the end. With the Contadins, he looked like he was on for a good result, but he's come home in 8th, 41 seconds behind the lead. With Tracy 92, a very quiet afternoon for him, just didn't have the pace in that Red Bull in 9th. With Jason 97 F1, even more off the pace, 1 minute and 5 seconds in 10th, but still comes home with 1 point. With RickeeyC and iProX Callum not finishing, unfortunately for them. With SE Racing Team Maisie and Rosberg not starting. MattyG taking the fastest lap on that 3 stop with a 36.9. But I think that was a good race. I mean, towards the end it was very action-packed with a little bit of incidents here and there, but Matty comes out on top in terms of the second place in the championship with 1 race to go, but Limitless is actually only 2 points ahead of Matty, with Noble obviously 336 points out in front, well and truly got that championship in the bag. Limitless 193 to Matty's 191, 2 points going into Brazil, so basically whoever finishes ahead, unless they both have disastrous races, is going to take home runner-up in the championship. Randy Mascarandi going up into 4th after that brilliant victory, with Ricky unfortunately disconnecting and probably would have kept 4th position had he not. Fizzy Fan maintaining 6th, with Martin 10 points behind in 7th and Minty dropping to 8th. Tracy 92, 50 points for him and in 9th position, so safe from the relegation. The Contadins moving up to 10th, with Rosberg not racing and down to 11th. SE Racing Team in 12th and Maisie in 13th, with Jason 97 F1 and iProX Callum looking like those two are the people, unless they can have a brilliant result in Brazil to go down to GP2. But wow, what did you make of that, Scott?
Pretty exciting race, and of course I think if we look at the Constructors' Championship, of course Williams have already wrapped it up, but it's still pretty close between Toro Rosso and McLaren, with Ferrari back in 4th, about just a few points ahead of Red Bull, with Caterham, Sauber and Force India rounding out the 8 positions. But Noble knows what he has to do in this final race. He's very much going to be off the limelight. His championship is done. He has to play the supporting role to Matty in the final race, because literally, as you said, 2 points separates the battle for second place, and whoever comes out on top, position-wise, in Brazil, is going to take that second place. It's all very crucial. I mean, looking back down, drop off in the relegation zone, not exactly a fantastic season for Force India. Hopefully they can come back strong next season, but it all comes to a climax in the final round of the championship. Interlagos is where it will be, the Brazilian Grand Prix, and if it's anything like the rest of the season's been, we could be in for one sensational finale.
I mean, Brazil always promotes such brilliant racing, so I hope you guys will not miss that next week, the Brazilian Grand Prix. It all comes down to this, round 16, and I hope you guys will join myself and Scott for that excellent race, I'm sure. My name's Matthew Gallagher, and I've been your commentator with Scott Woodwis. Thank you for commentating with me today.
Not a problem, always a pleasure. Hope you guys are going to be there until August, because hopefully it's going to shape up to one epic finale for the Season 7 Championship. But thanks very much, good to be back.
You don't want to miss it, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.